If you're an entrepreneur or a small business owner, your business depends on technology, whether you realize it or not. And if you're not able to close the tech gap, then you may not be able to grow your business to the place that you've envisioned it. Hi, my name is Isaias Burnett. And for the past 10 years, I've helped businesses just like yours take control of their technology so that it drives growth. I'm a top rated freelancer on Upwork and earned over six figures helping businesses with their technologies, from small one person shops to enterprises with 1,000 employees. That experience is exactly why I started Burnett Tech Solutions, where we do just that, help businesses take control of their technology to drive growth instead of it holding them back. In this video, we're going to look at three things. First, what exactly do I mean when I say that your business depends on technology? Second, I will show the big mistake that cause your business to not be successful. And third, I'm going to talk about how to fix that mistake to help push your business into the success that it was meant for. Let's get into it. Your business already depends on technology. When people hear tech environment or an IT environment, they typically think of a department with equipment, staff of engineers, plugging and unplugging cables. That might be the case in a large firm or large enterprise, but your small business as a solopreneur or you working with somebody else, you too have an IT environment. If you're working from a laptop, if you have a business email, if you have files and folders in a cloud environment like Google Drive or SharePoint or OneDrive, you have an IT environment. Whatever technology that you're using to help either drive sales, or you're using it to acquire clients, or you're using it to simply communicate with your clients, that is your IT environment. Could be a laptop, could be your email, it could be some cloud solution. If you're using a particular software, be it payment systems for you to be able to earn, or be it an online account that you're using either to interact with your customers or your customers to interact with you, or some service provider, that too becomes part of your IT environment. The question is that if this aspect of technology is not working for you today, what will you do? If that aspect of technology that you're using to communicate with your client, if it stops work at this very moment, what will happen to your firm? What will happen to your business? If you're using things like various accounting software and websites, and if your website is essential to driving traffic and to communicate with your clients and for you to have that online identity that is needed for you to be able to drive sales and to be able to grow your business, if these components of technology stop work today, what will happen to your firm? What will happen to your business? Your business already depends on technology. It already has a IT department, whether you realize it or not. If your laptop stop works, the same laptop that you're using right now to potentially watch this video, you're using to communicate with your clients. What happens if that device stops working? What happens if you have a small team or large team and they can't access your core systems? What happens then? In both cases, the risk is the same. Your business depends on technology, but there's no clear structure, no clear ownership on your technology environment. The key takeaway is this: you already have an IT environment to manage. And that brings us into the gap. What we see affecting small businesses that hamper their growth, that cause them, instead of they succeed, they are being hindered, and some of them even fail. The gap that we see is that there is no clear ownership. There is no clear ownership to the environment that they are using to help run their business. So, what do I mean when I say ownership? What is ownership? And ownership does not mean that you need to become an IT expert, does not mean that you need to be a technician yourself. This is what ownership means: To define ownership, we must look at four key questions. Question number one is this: what does your business depend on? What does your business depend on? Does your business depend on that laptop? Does your business depend on that website? Does your business depend on some software that is being used to deliver work for your client? What does your business depend on? That's question number one. Question number two: who has access to it? If you're a solopreneur, that's yourself. But if there is a particular issue or particular problem, who has access to it? Who is able to help you solve it? If you have a team, who on your team is responsible and what level of access do they have to this particular software? What happens if it fails? Again, if you're using some software and you depend on it to serve your clients or to gain prospects and leads and new business, then what happens if that technology fails? And finally, who's responsible for fixing it? In adjacent to who has access, who is responsible for fixing it? Answering those four questions is what that defines ownership. And notice they're not technical questions, they are business questions. Being able to think through these four questions and being able to solve for them is what makes successful businesses a success. Not being able to solve for these questions is the gap that we see over and over again. The real risk isn't bad technology. It is the fact that no one is being accountable for it. When something breaks, you are scrambling trying to figure out what to do next. If this particular software or tool stops working today, you don't know what is the next step to take to be able to continue to serve your clientele. That is what ownership is. Ownership is knowing and being able to answer these questions in seconds. And by not knowing them, you are putting your business as you're growing at risk. And before I show you how to go about solving this issue, if you're watching this and you're thinking, I'm not too sure how my technology is set up right now. Well, you don't have to figure it out alone. Exactly the type of problem that we solve at Brilliant Tech Solutions. You can book a free IT assessment at bonnettech.com. It takes 20 to 40 minutes, and we walk you through exactly what you need to do in your own business to fill in that gap. If you're interested, book a call below. Now, whether you handle it yourself, whether you give it to a team member, or you pay someone else to do it, this is how you go about solving the gap of IT ownership. The fix is ownership, not more tools. But how do we get ownership? When we answer those questions, what is it that we practically do to ensure that we own the environment that our business needs so that it can thrive and it can succeed? Well, the first thing that we do is we gain visibility. Now, when I say we gain visibility, you don't necessarily need to buy any more software. You don't have to buy another tool. You don't have to pay a consultant. No, I simply mean to write it down. You can use a pen and paper. You can use a notepad. You can use whatever tool that you use to just take notes and sit down and write what your business is using. What are the critical things that your business needs to succeed? You write it down. Gain visibility, big picture of every tool or technology that your business is using to deliver what you designed and built your business to deliver. When you have gained visibility, the next thing that you do is you build resilience. Now, what do I mean by that? Resilience means if something goes down, if something goes wrong, you have something to take its place right away. And again, you don't have to buy more tools. You don't necessarily have to buy more software or buy more equipment. It simply means having a plan. Now, that does not mean if you have a laptop, you need to buy two laptops, but it means that if you have a laptop and it goes wrong, you have a plan and you can execute that plan as soon as, in the case of the laptop, it stops working. Whatever the tool or the software, the technology is, if it is not working the way that it is supposed to work, what do I do next? So you have a plan in place. And that is one of the ways that you fix the ownership problem. The third thing is you delegate. You give some responsibility of the technologies to someone else. That's really what it is. That delegation could be to another team member. That delegation could be to some partner, some tech partner that you know and trust. Or if you're a solopreneur, it could simply be to yourself. And you know exactly what you do and exactly what you're supposed to do if certain things work or don't work the way that it should. One particular client that we support, before we came in, his manager, so he owns the business, and his manager was responsible for setting up accounts and also deactivating accounts when people come in and when people leave. When we came on scene, we took that particular part completely from the manager. The manager now has the free time and capacity to do everything else they have to do to actually run the business. But the point is, even without a known and trusted tech partner, this particular client gave or delegated a responsibility and ownership of a technology aspect of the business to someone. In that case, it was his manager that he hired to help run that particular firm. So you delegate and you put someone in charge so that if something goes wrong, there is a level of ownership, there's a line of task, of people, of responsibility that needs to trigger when things don't work the way that it is supposed to work. Now, these three solutions don't have to be complex. It does not have to be complex. The key takeaway is this: clarity solves more than complexity ever will. It's just having an understanding, being able to know that this is my tech stack, this is how my business operate, these are the things that I need. If things are not working, this is what I'm going to do, and this is what I have in place to ensure that certain things always work the way that they're supposed to. And if it doesn't work in that way, this is the things that I'm going to do, these are the levels that I'm going to pull, right? So it's about being clear, it's about having clarity about your environment. And clarity solves more than complexity ever will. So here's the one thing that I want you to do this week: identify the technology that your business cannot operate without and make someone responsible for it. That might be you, might be someone on your team, might be an outside partner. The exact answer is different for every business, but nobody can keep being the answer. You don't need a big company to have technology ownership. You just need a business that depends on emails, files, devices, and today that's almost every business. If you're not sure if your technology is under control, book a free call with us at bonatech.com. Your job is to build and run your business. Technology should never get in the way. If you would like to know how we secured a business email account after it got hacked and the owner lost money, and to ensure that your emails might not be in the same situation, watch this video next.